So you've been thinking about getting a Cyelee optic and you're searching their YouTubes and you're trying to find some reviews. Well, you came to the right place. I have two of them here today that I'm going to talk about and just go over my first impressions with. I have a T10 X Pro and a Wolf X Pro. So the T10 X Pro is a rifle dot, Wolf X Pro is a pistol dot. So first, let's talk about the T10 X Pro, and that's the one that I have mounted here. It's on my Palmetto State Armory AK-104. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus on here. Not sure if that's focusing, I can't tell. But this is the T10 X Pro, and I've put this on here last weekend. I took it out, I put about 50 or 60 rounds through this, and this replaced my previous dot, which was very, very similar to this optic in size and location. So I didn't zero this or anything. I did a rough co-witness with the irons, and I put the rounds down probably at about close to 50 yards, so not too far away, but I was making impacts on most, if not every single round. I didn't have any point of impact shift due to recoil or the dot moving in the housing. So let's talk a little bit about this dot, what it's made of, and all the specs, just so you can kind of get an idea of what we're working with. So first and foremost, obviously, like I just said, it's running on an AK-104, running 7.62. I did shoot it with a suppressor. This is a Sandman S. If you don't know, check out Gat Monkey. They have little Gat Monkey slings with nice designs. Go check them out. But yeah, so obviously this is a little bit tamed with the suppression, but nonetheless, shooting 7.62, steel case, Russian surplus ammo. So that's what this was shot with, and that's what I'm going to continue to shoot this with. I'm going to leave that optic on there for a long-term review. But let's talk about the actual construction of it. So this is a aircraft-grade aluminum housing. It's nitrogen purged to prevent fog. This particular model is a red dot. It's a multi-reticle red dot, so you can choose between a 2 MOA single dot, a 30 MOA circle, or a combined reticle with the circle and the 2 MOA dot. One nice feature about this is it's got the shake awake and motion deactivation, so you don't have to worry about draining the battery. And this is rated for up to 50,000 hours of battery life, which is standard at this point for many of the other optics that are out there in a similar category. This one is IPX7 waterproof. The battery compartment is side mounted, so right over here on the opposite side. Okay. This dot is parallax free. You do have your elevation and windage adjustments, one on the top, one on the side behind the battery compartment here. All right. As far as brightness settings, you're going to have 10 different settings. So you're going to have 8 daytime and 2 for night vision, which is important for me because I do shoot at night under night vision. I have not tested it yet, but I will, and I'll let you know how that performs. This guy, like I mentioned, has shake awake technology and standby. Fog resistant due to the nitrogen purging, which I mentioned earlier. Also shock proof, and I skipped this, but the adjustments are in this are in half MOA adjustments, and that overall is the specs of the optic as a whole. You have some coatings on the lenses, anti-glare and anti-scratch. So so far holding up fine and no problems. But again, I'm leaving this on here for a long-term review, and you guys can post down in the comments in a few months just to check in to see how it's holding up. But so far, so good. All right, so that's the bulk of it for the T10 X Pro. Now let's talk about the Wolf X Pro, which is a pistol dot. All right, so here is the Cyelee Wolf X Pro. Let's see if I can get that into focus. Okay, you'll notice that the front lens on here is pretty dirty. That's from all the carbon and fouling getting pushed back from shooting this suppressed. Let me get rid of this. So this is on an FN 502. This is a 22 caliber pistol, so not a lot of concern with recoil or anything like that on this, but I think maybe in the future I'm going to put this onto a 9mm and see how it performs against that recoil. This is obviously was shot suppressed. This is an MMG Ash 22 caliber, and the light on here is a TLR1HL. So I put several magazines down with this, and as you would expect, there was no point of impact shift with 22 caliber. It shot just fine. I co-witnessed it with the irons, and I was making impacts with no problem. I didn't have really any substantial fisheyeing or anything, or just the way that the edges of the optic look around the outskirts of the lens. So there was not really any distortion noticeable to me. I didn't have any problems with my astigmatism with the dot blooming, but again, that's just my eyes. Yours might be different. Now let's talk about some of the specs on this. Very similar to the T10X Pro. So this is also a red reticle on here. It's also a 2 MOA dot. Instead of having a 30 MOA circle, we're at a 26 MOA circle. So you can choose the 2 MOA dot or the 30 MOA circle, or both combined. Same thing with this. You have the shake awake and the deactivated standby. Also 50,000 hour battery life, but instead of the CR2032, this one is taking a side-loaded 1632 on the right side of the optic here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, your elevation adjustments are going to be on the top and bottom, and it's going to be with a regular flathead. So it's going to be a pretty small flathead, so you're going to need to have something small, maybe like an eyeglass flathead screwdriver. So this guy is also parallax free, also 8 daytime settings and 2 nighttime settings if you're doing night shooting, which I will be. And then this is made out of aluminum as well, 7075 T6, I think, aluminum it was. So this guy is also going to be shock resistant, and just by judging from the housing and the way that the optic performs and the mounting of it, I don't think I'm going to have any problems with this, whether I keep it on my 22 or I put it onto a 9mm. So in a nutshell, those are the specs of the pistol optic. The footprint on it is an RMR footprint, so anything that you have that takes an RMR will take this. It ships with a bunch of different screws. So you should have some that are compatible with your pistol slide. Now I know these are kind of a new optic out on the block. They've been out for several years, but there's some reviews going around about them. And generally speaking, I haven't seen any bad reviews, and I haven't had any bad experiences with testing these with the small amount of testing I've done so far. So just post down in the comments. I'm going to keep these long term. I'm going to probably cycle out the pistol optic onto a couple of different firearms, but I'm going to leave the rifle optic on the AK. So in several months, if you want to know how they're holding up, feel free to drop me a comment below. And if you're not already, please subscribe. It really helps me. Turn on those notifications to get notified of when I drop new videos. And again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. I appreciate you guys and have a great one.